All right, today we are working with a vSphere recovery agent in OpenText Server Backup, formerly Carbonite Server Backup or Evault. And what this is going to do is interface the backup process from VMware ESXi into a vault. What I've got here is a standalone server, and this is basically going to act as a proxy where the software that's installed here will reach out to the ESXi server and then pull that data, encrypt it, etc., and push it into the vault. So to get started, I've got the installation already downloaded here for Agent 9.22, and I'm just going to run this as administrator. Clicking next through the license agreement, I come up to the default installation location here in Program Files, and I'll keep that default. On this next screen for the network address, this is the portal that you should have available in your environment. The VRA software cannot be used with the Windows install of Central Control, and so I will type in our portal in the lab here called YT Portal, and the default port of 8086 here for your portal. This is going to be for managing the backup, not for the connection to the vault. So we've got 8086 to our portal, and then later on in the later configuration step, we'll enter in port 2546 for the vault connection. So this is what we want here. The username and password is going to be the email address used when you log into the same portal as this network address. I will select next on this one now. And if you do run into any problems during the installation and it brings you back to that window where it has you enter in the credentials, etc., that means that there was an issue with this agent software reaching out and registering to the portal. It looks like here everything went through without a problem. So I will select finish for this one. And then I will go ahead and jump over to my portal. Now that I've logged into my portal, it defaults to the dashboard where I can see it's letting me know about this new computer to set up. So at this point, I'm going to click on the Computers button. At the bottom of the list here, we have the YT VRA, and it has a little logo here indicating that it is a VMware job. I can click anywhere on the bar or a drop-down arrow on the right. Because I do have a Vault profile available in this login, I do have the option to do the configure automatically, but I want to do the configure manually, so I'm going to select that. At this point, it defaults to bringing us to the Vault Settings tab, and on the right side, I'm going to select the Add Vault button. From here, I will utilize my Vault profile that I have. If you need to set up a Vault profile, I do have a video on that process. Otherwise, you can come in and manually enter in all of your Vault information here. So I'll go ahead and save this. With that completed, we do have one more step before we can go and create any backup jobs, and that is in the vSphere settings. When you are configuring the host information credential, you can enter in either the ESXi host directly if this is, say, a standalone environment, or you can enter in the vCenter settings. And the way that that would work for vCenter is that this software will reach out to the vCenter server, let it know that it needs a snapshot made. At that point, vCenter is going to talk to ESXi about getting that snapshot completed. Once it then finishes and vCenter reports back to the VRA software that the snapshot is ready, the VRA then directly talks to the ESXi host. It pulls the snapshot information, and then it continues through a similar cycle to say that the snapshot is no longer needed, and it consolidates that data. The process is very similar for a direct ESXi connection. It just doesn't have to talk to the vCenter first, and so it's going to talk to ESXi, tell it it needs a snapshot, and pulls the data. In my environment here, I just have a standalone ESXi host, so I'm going to enter that information in here. And this does bring up a point for the username of root. That is the default for an ESXi install. If you're using a vCenter, you probably have like administrator at vsphere.local or a similar domain connected admin user. Once this information is entered, you're going to hit verify and save. And if the host address and credentials is correct, you'll get the green message here and we are good to go. So I will select OK on this, and then we will go to our Jobs tab. Once on the Jobs tab, we set it up very similar to other agent software. On the right, we have the Select Job Task dropdown, and we will create a VMware vSphere job. With the Create New Job window pulled up, we can expand out the middle pane and select any server that we are wanting to have in the job, and then click the Include button. Now you can include multiple VMs in a single job and name it whatever you're wanting. As a personal general best practice, I do like to do a one-to-one of server job name for the backup set. Now with the name set and the password entered, we're going to move over to the right side of this window where we have the optional advanced settings, where we take a look at the QS guest file system. We do want that normally because that is going to take the stuff that's in memory and flush it to disk and make sure we have a backup that's going to be in a good state, very similar to VSS on Windows. Enabling the application consistent backup does have similar functions, and you'll utilize this in environments like SQL or Exchange. Further down the line, you'll have the same thing with the truncation of the database logs, which can be handy for SQL servers. For this particular VM, I'm just going to uncheck these ones as they're not needed, which then leaves us with the enable threat detection. If you do enable the threat detection, you will need to enter some local credentials to that machine, and then that way it can pass through the checks via VMware tools and take care of the threat detection process. With all of your options set here, go ahead and click on the Create Job button. This will bring up our scheduler window, and the normal kind of setup here is to click the Add Schedule button where it gives us 2 lines, and then I'm going to change this to be monthly on the top line, and then click anywhere directly on the text to bring up the Configure Job Schedule window, selecting the dropdown for days of week, changing that to days of month, and I'll have that on the 1st. And 10:15 is a perfectly good time to run this backup, so I will select OK. And then the short version of this is that for the dailies, we actually want to edit this to be running at the exact same time. So I'm going to select in here to adjust the time to 10:15. This may seem a little bit odd because the first may run on a Sunday or the first may run on a Monday, but it's going to take the top one first and apply that particular retention. You won't get 2 backups running at the same time. With that set, I do like to have the retry failed backups enabled, and I just set that somewhere higher than 1. In my example here, setting it for 6 times for 10 minutes on each attempt, we'll then let it run for an hour trying to reconnect to the vault, just in case there's some sort of maintenance or network issue at the time of backup. With this, I'll click on Save. This will bring us back to the Jobs tab, and we are ready to run a backup. You can let this run on schedule, or on the right side, select Action dropdown. I will click on Run Job. And then depending on what time of the month you are running this backup, you may want to do a monthly just in case you missed the first of the month, which I'll do for this case, and then start backup. And now that our backup is complete, I will click on Close here, and it does show the green check mark with completed status. To update the portal line for this particular server where it still shows as unconfigured though, we do need to refresh the browser by clicking on Computers or refresh the tab here. And there we have it. Our VRA is in a green OK status, and that job is all good to go. If you have any questions about this process, go ahead and comment down below, and we'll catch you in another video. See ya.